Hi, we're Omnious.ai, and our vision is to make fashion AI available to anyone in any form, in any context. And our mission is to bring the best visual AI services to help people, e-commerces, and businesses to thrive in their endeavors. Today, we're really excited to bring you 3 API solutions that you can use flexibly to integrate into your applications. You can decide to use the APIs individually or by mixing and matching them together however you like. So this is the agenda for this presentation. Our AI products, what our products' key features are. Then we'll move on to Tagger, what Tagger is, how Tagger works, and we discuss the 2 APIs, single and bulk APIs, and we discuss how to integrate the API into your application. Then we talk about the key inputs and outputs of Tagger. Then we move on to Lens, what Lens is made of, and we explain how Lens is managed, which is Management API, Recommendation API, and the Camera Search API, and how to integrate the Lens API into your application, and the key inputs and outputs. And lastly, we'll talk about some use cases to inspire you to come up with your own use cases. This is our products. Our first product is Tagger, which is a product tagging automation solution. Product tagging automation solution uses visual AI to tag fashion items into around 1,000 attributes within just seconds. And second is Lens, which consists of 2 solutions. First solution is the visual recommendation solutions, which extracts fashion attributes from items and uses those to recommend similar items from your product catalog. And the second solution is Camera Search, which uses the image that you take from your mobile phone's camera application or images that you collect from social media like Facebook or Instagram to recommend similar items from your product catalog. Now, these are our product's key features. First, our AI tags the fashion items fast and accurately. Second, our AI extracts the data in the textual data, which you can utilize them any way you like. And the best of it all, it's super easy to integrate. Are you excited? All right, let's get into it. We'll show you a short video clip of Tagger before we get started. Tagger detects all types of fashion items. And as you can see by the figures, it significantly boosts work efficiency. And our items are classified into multiple categories like this. And this is how our clients are using it right now. They're using the attributes that they get from Tagger in their product filters, ranging from color, print, detail, material, and more. And with the sheer number of attributes, their filters become highly sophisticated. Now, this is how Tagger works. First, you send an image through to the Tagger API. And the Tagger AI detects fashion items within the image. Then third, from the detected item, it generates product attributes. Now, I'll talk about the single and bulk API, which are the 2 ways of calling Tagger. I'll talk about the single API first, which is a lightweight API, and it's best suited for small amounts of data. First, you prepare an image, and you put it through to the API, which tags the clothes and gives you the attribute data back immediately. And this is a synchronous method in that regard. And bulk API is a little bit heavier than single API, but it's suited for large operations with large data. First, you prepare a list of images, then you put it through to the bulk API. Then you wait until the tagging request finishes. Then after it finishes, you call the API through a separate request, and you get the tagging results data back. This is an asynchronous method, and that timing to make the request and getting the response back is at a different point of time. Now, how do you integrate the Tagger API into your applications? Let's talk about that. First, what you need is an authentication key. Authentication key is required to use all of Omnious.ai's APIs. And we'll give you the login information for OmniStudio, which is Omnious's web interface, which you can log into and you click your email on the top right, click account info, then under services of use section, there should be an API key header. And next to it, click show to reveal your API key, copy and paste that, and we'll use it for the next section. We'll put the API key in the header like this. This is what the Tagger API header looks like. First, you need a host, api.omnious.com. Second, the content type, application/JSON. Third, API key, which is the key that you copied from the previous slide. And fourth, the accept language. This is how you want the language that you want the tagging data, attribute data back in. You can choose from English, Korean, Japanese, or Chinese. Now we'll talk about the technical aspect of single API. And these are the key input parameters. The request should be provided in a JSON body format. And the first one in the body should be an image, which contains an image object. And inside the image object, there's type, which is, you can choose either URL or base64. And there's content. Depending on what you put in for the type, you will put in an image URL if you put in type for the image URL, and a base64 encoded string if you put in base64 for the type. Now, there are a lot of other ways to customize the input for making the single API call. But here, I'll just like to highlight one optional input that you'll be using a lot. And that's the detection option. With detection option, you can choose what items the tagger tags. As you can see on the right side of the screen, there's a context field. And inside the context field, there's the detection field, which accepts one or more of the available values that you see on the left side of the screen. Now, the tagger works best with specific image specifications. There are recommended and restrictions on image size, resolution, format, and ratio. And there are also types that restrict the tagger's accuracy, which is watermark, folded, and filtered, and blurred. And exact specifications are outlined in the guidelines that we'll provide you. Now I'll talk about the key output parameters to the single API. First output parameter is gender info, which is a gender information if there's a recognizable model in the image. Objects field, which is an array containing the attribute information for each detected fashion item in an image. Third is the type, items high-level category, so clothing, bags, shoes, etc. Tags, which is an object containing the tag information for each detected item. And there's the item object inside the tags object, which is an object containing the item information. And also there are 12 more attributes where each has the following fields. Each has the ID, which is Omnious.ai's unique attribute identifier, the name of the detected attribute, for example, jeans for items, black for colors, long for length, floral for print. And there's a confidence value, which is a value ranging from 0 to 1, which denotes how confident the AI is about the result. So the closer it is to 1, the more confident the AI is. We'll talk about an important concept before moving on, which is about images and items. Each item found in an image is provided separately in the output. Multiple items can be found in an image, and the order in which they appear on the output list corresponds to how close they are from the center of the image. Now moving on, we'll talk about the technical aspects of the bulk API. And the bulk API consists of 4 different endpoints, which is post endpoint, append endpoint, status endpoint, and results endpoint. This is how each one works. The client sends multiple images, maximum of 1,000, in a request to post endpoint, and it gets back a task ID. A task ID represents a unit which the tagging process is being tracked. If the client wants to add more images to the same task ID, they can make additional requests to the append endpoint. And also they can use the status endpoint to check the progress of the tasks. When a task done value is received from it, it means the results are available. And finally, the client can make a GET request to the result endpoint to retrieve the data. And here are the key input parameters to bulk API. It's mostly similar to the single API, except for the fact that it accepts multiple images. And those multiple images are stored in the tagging request field. I won't go over the details too much here because I've covered it in the single API slides. And also the output to the bulk API is very similar to the single API. Therefore, I'll skip that in this section. Now that we've talked about the technical aspects of Tagger, I'll go over the OmniStudio, which is Omnious' web interface. Like we mentioned before, we're going to provide you with the login details to OmniStudio. This is how it works with Omnious Tagger. When you upload a fashion image to tag fashion images to Omnious Tagger, it automatically classifies the attributes and stores those attributes into albums that's created in OmniStudio. And as you can see on the right, you can see the attributes from a user-friendly interface. Now we'll talk about Lens, and Lens contains two different solutions, which is visual recommendations and camera search. Like Tagger, we'll show you a short video clip. This is how Lens works. And our clients have integrated Lens into their applications like this. They make similar item recommendations to the one that the customer is viewing. And they can also get a URL from the Instagram post, put it into the search bar to discover similar items that your favorite celebrities are wearing. Moving on. These are the Lens APIs. Well, first is a data management API, where the user updates all product images from their product catalog to the Lens database. And when they do that, the AI analyzes all attributes within the image to create a similarity index within the Lens database. And there's a recommendation API, which fetches similar items from your product catalog by calling the API with the product ID. And there's a camera search API, which fetches same or similar items from your product catalog by calling the API with a fashion image. Now, populating the Lens database first is a prerequisite before using the recommendation and camera search APIs. And this is done through a data management API, and this is how it functions. So you need to do an initial setup, and you need to prepare an image from all of your image from your product catalog and put it through the API to create a similarity index. And Lens database is initially configured. Then, if you have more items that you want to add to your database, you can choose to do that. Prepare new items, put it through to the API, and it'll create more similarity indexes. Then if you want to delete some from the index, you can choose to do that. Just put the IDs of the existing products in the database, which will delete the item for you. Now, bear in mind that there's a term between calling the API and when the similarity index is actually calculated. This is how recommendation API works. As you can see on the screenshots, it not only detects similar items by item, but it looks at color, detail, prints, and many more attributes. And this is how camera search works. Users can take photos from mobile phone's camera application or take image URL from Instagram or Facebook and put it through to the API to detect similar items. Now, how do you integrate the Lens API into your application? First, you need an authentication key like you've used for Tagger. But bear in mind that this is a different authentication key to Tagger, and we'll provide you one. Now, similar to Tagger, you'll need an API header. Now, first, I'll talk about the technical aspects of the data management API. First, you need the get. There's a get request. There's a post-action update request. There's a post-action delete request. In a get request, it checks the current Lens database information. And a post-action update request is used for inserting and updating the Lens database. And it has these key inputs, which is the product, which contains a list of products. Inside the product, there's ID, which is a key for each product, and URL if you have a product page for that product. And there's an image object which contains all the image information. Inside that, there's a detection field, which is top, either bottom, whole body, etc. And there's content, which is a URL of the cover image. And there's post-action delete method, which accepts a list of IDs from your Lens database, and it'll delete the item for you. Now remember that the Lens database must be set up before using the recommendation API. And these are the two request types that you can call the recommendation API by, which is get or post. And these are the key input parameters to it. The ID, which is the product code of the query product that you want to recommend, limit, the maximum number of recommendation results that you want to get back, and weight color feature, which is the weight of the color to be reflected in the recommendations. So if you want to make a recommendation, but if you don't really care about the color too much, you would put low for the weight color feature value. And these are the key output parameters to the recommendation API. First, you have a recommend, which is a list of similar products. There's ID, which is a product code of the recommended item. The URL, which is a URL information of the product. There's image info, which is a container for the image information. And inside that, there's a content, which is the URL of the actual product image. Now, these are the key input parameters to the camera search API, which is the image, which contains the image information. Inside the image, there's type, which is URL or base64. And depending on what you put in for the type, the content value changes. If you put in URL for the image type, you put in the image URL. And if you put in base64, you put in the base64 encoded string. And weight color feature is similar to the recommendation API's input. Now that we've discussed all the technical side of things, we'll discuss some use cases to inspire you to come up with your own use cases. Now, this is our tagger solution, and this is how our clients are using it. In the image, one of our clients utilized tagger-specific attributes to provide advanced filters to help customers find their desired items more easily. This was done by automatically organizing fashion items when they put the item through a tagger when they uploaded a new item. These are the two lens use cases. First, visual recommendation solution. For the recommendation API, our customers have used it to recommend similar items to the one that the customer is viewing. This was especially useful when the item was out of stock. Customers could continue their shopper's journey to find products more easily. And there's the camera search solution. For the camera search API, one of our customers integrated a camera search solution in their search bars to give customers the option to search for products with images or by uploading them or by using a URL. Now that we've talked about some real-world use cases, we want to inspire you to come up with your own use cases. And these are the ways of thinking about it. First, you take advantage of utilizing a massive pool of tagging data. Second, seize the potential to create smart applications with AI. And third, use the latest technology to enable a beautiful shopper's experience. Thank you for coming this far and your interest in AI. Above all, we hope you have fun in this hackathon. If you need any support, please don't hesitate to contact us at hackathon@Omnious.ai. Thank you, and I hope to see you soon. Bye-bye.